All right, guys. Welcome to Warrior Wednesdays. We are Jeff and Maggie now, the founders of Wedlock Warriors. We have no idea what we're doing on Facebook Live. We think that the lighting's probably crazy bad. I'm going to either look at I don't know where to look.
I think we look up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to try to look at the camera so you can kind of see us. But we do have a message tonight for you. Those of you that don't know, Wedlock Warriors is a free ministry that my wife and I, Maggie and I, run to help people in struggling marriages, particular people. And you can go to our website, wedlockwarriors.com, and read the full bio and everything like that if you want. But here's the point. Tonight, we have a message that we're going to start this whole thing kicked off with talking about the next few weeks coming up and what we're going to be teaching. We have a 5-week course that we're going to teach, the Focus training course, or the Marriage Focus class, and that's an acronym, and we're going to go over all that stuff. So welcome. We're glad to have you here. If this is your first time checking us out, we just welcome you to this table, and we just want to start tonight off with a word of prayer and just giving thanks to our Lord above, for He's the one that gave us the idea to actually get this thing rolling. So if we could just take a moment, we're just going to say a quick prayer, and then we'll kind of get in tonight's meat and potatoes. So here we go. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for bringing us here tonight to give us the opportunity to minister to those in need. To anyone out there that needs to hear this message, just bring them to the table. Open their hearts and their minds to the words that we say, to the words that you want to speak into their hearts, and just let them understand that they're not alone in their struggle, that you are with them, and that as they walk through their dark valley and their dark shadowy place, that there is a light at the end of that tunnel, and that tunnel leads directly to you and your Son, Jesus Christ. Father, we love you, and we just lift up our praise to your glorious name. Amen. So guys, thank you for coming tonight, and we're just going to outline kind of what this whole idea of the Facebook Live thing has been. So we first started our ministry by teaching the Focus class, and if you don't know what the Focus class is, go to our website, and there's a report that you can download. It's absolutely free, and it's the 5 immediate steps you're going to need to take to start rebuilding your marriage today. And when we wrote that report, we put together, basically what we were doing is we put together the 5 most important things that Maggie and I thought were, like, if we left any of these little pieces out, like if any of these 5 pieces were not in the mix, there would be no Jeff and Maggie anymore. And you can talk, we're not here to talk about our entire story. That's what the website's for. But with that being said, I guess what I'm trying to say is the 5 steps, they're the most important. And we put them together in that free report, and it spells out the acronym FOCUS, F-O-C-U-S. And why don't you explain that part?
Okay, so each one of these letters stands for a key component to healing your marriage, or even strengthening it if you have a strong marriage. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the F, which stands for Fix Your Eye. And we'll get into that a little bit deeper here in just a couple minutes. So stay tuned on the F. The O.
You want me to take over that part?
I thought we were alternating.
No, that's fine. You go ahead.
Okay. The O stands for Open the Lines of Communication, and we'll cover that one next week. That way, this doesn't get to be super long. If we covered all of them, it would be pretty significantly long. So each week we'll cover something different. But Open the Lines of Communication, it's more than the communication buzzword you're so used to hearing. It's going to be more specific teaching on ways you can communicate with your spouse, so that you guys can you can just be so much stronger if you are communicating effectively.
One of the reasons why I was letting her do it all by herself is because it was really her idea. So we had this big project ahead of us, like we're going through like 15 years of trying to figure out all the ups and downs and all the little things that we did. And it's like, holy cow, that doesn't make any sense. And we wrote this report, and we're like, okay, we got to bring it into a concise little ball so people can digest it, right? So we can hand it over to you, and you can go, oh, that's nice, I can do that. And so she was the one that came up with the acronym FOCUS, and so that's why I was letting her talk. So she's awesome.
Well, actually, I've just been in the education field a really long time, so we think in acronyms.
Right.
The C on focus is clean the circle or cleaning the circle, and that's your association piece. That is when we start to really look at who you associate with, because the people you surround yourself with are the people you're going to be the most like. And then the U is unravel the truth. That one's probably my very favorite, because that's when we start talking about resources, books, and audios and things you can actually dig into to figure out the truth of what it takes to communicate to each other, the truth of what it takes to live together, and just it helps you so much. It really, really does. And then the final one is S, and it stands for society, and that's when we dig into what is society's message for you, because most everything you're learning from society is wrong.
Right. So that's what focus class is. You know, I'm really having a hard time with. I feel like we're like really, really bright, and I'm like shining like a beacon out there into the netherworld.
That's all right, lead, baby.
So, anyways, hopefully, you guys can get over it and understand what we're trying to get at here. So, the whole idea was, you know, me and Maggie, we went through our struggles, and quite honestly, it's a miracle that we made it all the way through. And we came up with a system called Focus of how we fixed our marriage, and really how we use those 5 steps I mean, they don't stop. You don't stop using them. And really where we came from, where we are today. So it's awesome, and we thank God for it, and that's why we're here to teach you the same thing. So the whole idea is, if you're finding yourself in that minefield, if you're finding yourself in that space of time where things just aren't working out for you, you don't know if you're going to make it to the other end of at the end of the week married, let alone the end of the year. And so, looking back, if we could have had that couple that had already traversed across the minefield and said, "Hey, this is what you do. Put your foot here, put your other foot here, put your other foot here, put your other foot here." And then by the time we get across, you'll have all your arms and your legs still intact. That would have been awesome for us. Now, we didn't have those people. Right. But we still made it. And the reason we made it is because of God's divine grace. But also because it really goes back to the first F, and we're going to talk about that right now. So the first F is fix your eye. So I think Maggie had some really cool things to illustrate with at this point. And then I'll kind of come in after she's done, because it ties into a bigger point that we get a lot of questions that repeat over time. Like, well, we've been doing this since August. Right. So just a few months now we've been in this ministry, right? And I've seen this question at least 20, 30 times. And that's a lot, considering we don't have a huge following and, you know, we just got started, right? Right. So it's like, if I'm seeing 30 times the same question over and over again, or some little derivative. So we're going to answer some big question. I guarantee that if you're going through a marriage struggle, you've asked this question. So just hang on to that. I'll come in after Maggie. But the whole point of the focus class outlined at the website, and fixing your eye is the first step. And go ahead, Maggie. Okay.
I guess the first thing I want you to think about, and you don't have to type in an answer or write anything down, but I want you to...
No, you really do. We want you to type in the box.
Oh, stop. I'm just kidding. Ask yourself where your eye is fixed right now. And don't say the computer screen, because we know that. But I mean, like, where are you focused? Where are you pouring yourself what are you pouring yourself into right now? So think through that. And, you know, maybe, and just to give you some ideas of what we often hear, a lot of people will say their children. I'm pouring into my children right now, or I'm pouring into my career right now.
That's a big one. The kids are a big one. Yep.
Just think through, where is your focus, or where is your eye fixed right now? And as you think about that, we're going to take you down memory lane. I didn't tell you all this, so have fun. Hold on tight. And just talk about
where are we going? Never mind. That's okay.
We're going to talk about some of the places that our eye has been fixed since the beginning of our marriage, which was, 16 and a half years ago. So when we first got married, and you can chime in anytime you feel like you would like to, but
I'll chime in.
When we first got married, my eye was fixed on this man because I couldn't wait to marry him. Oh, stop it. But very quickly, life set in, right? And all of a sudden, bills were coming in, and we had our first son very quickly into our marriage. And then when that happened, my focus went right to, I'm a mom, and I better be a great mom. And he kind of backburnered, and I did everything I could to be a great mom. Right. And then real quick after that, we were scrambling because we had some job loss and we couldn't make all of our bills. So we were juggling and we were struggling. And so then all of a sudden money and career, that was our focus. So we were driving into that, and we made some really silly choices. And I mean, you can read our testimony, because looking back, it's like, man, I can't believe we did all those things.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But we made lots of bad choices that landed us not only in financial ruin completely, but it destroyed our marriage too.
Right.
So when we got back together, our focus was still somewhat driven by money, because we kind of thought that was what would fix things, because we'd never had it before. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's that piece we're missing. And we really drove hard after careers. And I went and got my master's degree in administration, and I had my first job as an administrator, and I thought, this is it. Jeff was pursuing carpentry, and he was rocking it, and he said, this is it, and we're full speed ahead. By then we had 2 kids, and almost simultaneously, it was 2008, the housing industry went belly up, and yeah, his job was gone, just disappeared overnight.
Like that.
And when that happened, the whole economy was hit, and so my brand new administration job was let go as well. So it's called a RIF. If you've ever been in the education industry, it's reduction in force. I was the newest one, and so I was the first one cut. And then I was put back in an education position, and he was on the hunt again for a job. So we went from, making one income to like half of that really, really quickly. Lost our house. Like, we lost everything. Right.
And so I'll just jump in here. And, what she described right there is a perfect example of the crazy you go through in life. And you guys out there in the netherworld here, in the internet world, probably have a similar story. Let's be honest. 2008 just didn't happen to me and Maggie, right? It happened to the entire country. And I guarantee whoever's out there watching this video, either live or after the fact, they've had similar situations. Everything's crazy. And what I'm trying to illustrate here is that's the perfect example of a big ball of mess that you allow yourself to get in now by focusing on the wrong things. And so if we would have had our eyes fixed where it needed to be, and that's on Christ, that's on God, that's on his divine touch, that's on his word. If we would have had our eyes fixed there instead of on this little ball of crazy that the world puts in front of you, things would have been a lot different. Now, does that mean that the economy would have went, or if we would have never lost our house? I don't know. I doubt it. Right. What I'm saying, though, is it wouldn't have allowed any cracks or crevices to creep inside this relationship. Now, luckily, as this part was going on, all this crazy was going on, I was already saved and starting to work my path towards knowing God and seeing God for what he is in a more personal relationship.
Well, can I jump in here for a minute? This is important, too. This is something that comes up a lot. He had found the Lord. I had not. I wasn't even close yet.
Yeah. It'll be years.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. And this is a big deal, because he was continuing to be steady and go forward and do what he knew was right. And I just kept watching. And I didn't really know what this piece was that he had, but I kept watching. And eventually it found me too. But he didn't give up because I wasn't there yet. He just kept going forward because he knew it was the right way to go. Something that so many times we get stuck on, when something goes wrong, we look at each other and we say, well, why'd you do that?
Why didn't you do it?
Right, exactly. That's
blaming
what we
me?
do.
Are you blaming?
Right, that's what you end up doing, because my focus, when it was on him.
Hold on. You want to come in? Come on in and say hi to everybody.
We have kids.
Oh, hurry up, and then you got to go away. I know. Okay, we'll take care of it. Go play with that. Close the door. Take the cat with you.
We have
a family. We have 4 of them, and one of them's 7, and the other one's a cat, and there's 2 more upstairs. It's Crazyville here. Anyway, so anyways.
But when we focused on each other, you have to remember, he's not God. He's not perfect. No. And he's going to fail me if I focus on him to fix everything.
Right.
Your kids are not perfect. They're going to fail you if you focus on them and expect everything to go well.
Right.
It's the same with a career. Anything that's not human is also eventually going to fail. If you focus on your house, you're going to go through sometimes you go through a flood, you go through a fire, it's gone. I mean, there's so many things that are tangible that you want to hold on to, but it doesn't matter. All of those things are not going to be steady enough. The only thing that doesn't change, the only thing that's constant, is your relationship with the Lord.
Right. And there's a really good illustration of this biblical lesson in I think it's the I got my Bible right here. It's a story of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, where's it at in the Bible?
That is in Daniel.
Daniel. And so it's the story of Nebuchadnezzar, and it has in the warning that God gives to Nebuchadnezzar is basically, if you don't turn your eyes towards me, you're going to go crazy and you're going to flee into the wood. And it's interesting because in that story, Nebuchadnezzar has his eyes fixed away from God, on his kingdom, on the things he's wanting to do, on his accomplishments, and on what he's trying to get done and everything. And God gives us this warning, hey, you better turn your eyes to me, or I'm going to take your mind from you. And what happens? He doesn't turn to the Lord, Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar is the ruler of the known world. Like, there's no more powerful person on the earth at this time, right? And God allows them to lose his mind, and he basically flees off into the wilderness for 7 years, living like an animal. Yeah, at this point. And it isn't until Nebuchadnezzar's eyes turn towards God that his kingdom is restored, that his sanity is restored, that his livelihood is restored, that everything that has been Nebuchadnezzar up to that point is restored in him. The only time that happens is when his eyes turn and look to the heavens and focus back on God. And so that works the same way with your marriage, guys, especially when you're going through a tough time. And we get this question a lot. We get this question all the time. Okay, and I'm going to tell you from experience. We always get some derivative of this question. What if I'm doing all this stuff to make things better, but my spouse is not doing anything to help it along the way? Or what if my spouse doesn't come back? What if my spouse doesn't think this is the right move? What if my spouse is still going away? What if my spouse is still sleeping with somebody else? What if my spouse is doing this? Basically, what if my spouse, why aren't they doing this? Right? Okay, so you get the idea. So that's the question we get repeatedly. And the only thing that question reveals to me is that your eyes are not fixed on the Lord. Because if you fix your eyes on the Lord, it doesn't matter. And here, I'll just tell you from what I was when I was going through, when me and Maggie were going through our really, really dark time, there was no guarantee that Maggie was coming back. Absolutely not. In fact, I didn't think she was. I didn't think there was any chance of me and her being back together ever again. And so, what do you do at that point, right? You can't. There's nothing you can do. In fact, if you start focusing on the other person, you're going to lose your mind, because they're not
push them away faster.
And push them away faster too. You have to take your focus off all this earth stuff, all these earthly things, all this fleshly thinking, and put your trust and your focus on God. And at that point, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You see, Maggie, my happiness, my love, my self-worth, whatever you want to call it, doesn't come from her. It comes from God. And so if you could take that lesson, that answers your question. I know you want me to say, well, if they would only do X, then you could do Y or whatever. It doesn't work that way. You have to take your focus off of them and place it on where it belongs. Then your sanity will be restored. Your sanity will be restored if you put your focus on, or you fix your eye on where it needs to be. Now, we're not saying you have to drop all your problems, abandon all your responsibilities. That's not what I'm talking about. In fact, that's why we say fix your eye. And I know we interchange the word focus a lot here. One, it's the acronym of the class. Two, it means kind of the same thing. But really what we're saying here is, in all your struggles in your life, in everything you do, the underlying current, the underlying backbone, the underlying principles by which you should lead your life has to be fixed. Your soul, inner person has to be fixed on the Lord. And everything else falls in. I think you got a good illustration about this.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Tell them that. That's really awesome. Tell
yeah.
them that. Yeah. I'm going to sit back now.
Well, and I'll get more into this really soon. It's actually one of the books that was on my book list, if you check that out at the beginning of October. And I'm going to peek at the title so I don't screw it up. It's A Woman's Secret to a Balanced Life by Lisa Turkerest and Sharon James.
Show what it looks like.
Well, it's backwards, and it drives me nuts. Oh, it's really...
Oh, it's so bright. You can't even see it.
Yeah, it's green. It doesn't look green, but it is. And they describe all these areas of your life like a fountain. And I'm not talking about one that shoots straight up and goes all over the place, but it's in tiers. You've seen it before, where you've got like a small layer, and then the next one's a little bigger, and then the next one's a little bigger, and so on.
Like champagne bottle or champagne glasses.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And so the top one fills, and then it spills into the next one, and this, you know what I'm talking about. And so what they have done a beautiful job of illustrating is how each one, if you think of each part of your life as one of those tiers, you have to fill one up so that it can overflow into the next, and so on. And the top tier is your relationship with the Lord. And so when you pour into that and fill that, it falls into the next tier, which is your marriage. Notice it's not your kids yet. It's your marriage next. And then that one flows over into your children. And then it keeps flowing down. So eventually you end up in the community, and you're doing either a career or you're doing volunteer projects in the community. And one of my takeaways, and though they didn't yet actually illustrate this directly, and if they do, then I'll certainly give them credit, but one of the things that it illustrates for me is if you get those pools out of order. So have you ever met someone, I know I have, who is very active in the community? Maybe they're into politics, maybe they're volunteering at every I don't know, church pantry, or they're everywhere in the community, but their family falls apart. I mean, have you ever witnessed that?
I've seen it, yeah, sure.
And you think, wow, what a great person, and then you think, wow, what happened? How did that happen? How did their kids end up in so much trouble? But if you think about it, that biggest pool, if you put that up above and fill it, even if it spills over, it'll never reach those smaller ones, because it doesn't have a chance to.
Yeah, you've inverted the pyramid.
Right, yeah. Right. So it's a fabulous illustration. It was one I was planning to have done by the beginning of this month to blog on it, but I slowed down purposely because I thought, man, this is good. So when I'm finished, I'll devote a whole blog to that, because it is such a great book. I haven't been this excited about a book in a long time. So
and she reads a ton of books.
This is fabulous. But hopefully that helps you with a little bit of an illustration, and just knowing that, and we've certainly seen the effects of this, when you do pour into your relationship with the Lord, it does flow into your marriage, and things that weren't always good there or weren't always solid start to fix themselves. Mm-hmm. It's not overnight, but they start to fix themselves. You start to, just by being closer to the Lord, you have more peace in you, less anger, less all of these things that were pulling you apart. And so the things, even if, in the case of Jeff, even if I wasn't on that faith walk with him, he had more peace, and I was more relaxed, because I thought, oh, he's not going to come after me this time. You know what I mean? Because I understand there's some fighting. There's some pain involved when you've been through something traumatic. And there's a lot of defensive nights, where you guys are in combat zone. And it just helps to just start to give you peace inside. Right.
Guys, hopefully you understand where we're coming from. Hopefully you see what's going on here. And hopefully we get better at delivering the message.
We're trying.
So with that being said, if you haven't yet downloaded our free report, that'll really help illustrate in more detail kind of what we're talking about. Right. So go to wedlockwarriors.com, click on the thing, fill out your information, and you can download the free report and start reading it tonight. And the reason I want you to do that, one, it gives us a chance to stay in contact with you, because you're going to, be put on our blog list. Mm-hmm. And anything that comes out when Maggie reviews the book that she's reading, or when I, if we write a new article or whatever, or we do a Facebook Live, you're going to be alerted to it. But more importantly, you're going to start seeing the 5 most important steps, guys. There's nothing else. Fixing your eye was 1 of 5. Mm-hmm. Now, it's the most important one. If you don't fix your eye where it needs to be, there's no reason to really continue on. Because it's not going to work out for you anyways. But if you fix your eye on God, and you start living by the different principles that we outline in that in that report. There's really nothing that can't be fixed. And I know some of you out there are saying to yourself, oh, you don't understand, Jeff. You don't get it. Maggie, you guys look like you're so happy. And we are so happy. You don't get it, man. We weren't here. We were right where you were at, not so long ago. And we definitely remember the pain and the struggle and just the heartache and
the crazy.
The insanity of going through a really, breaking up or not, being married anymore or working towards divorce, whatever. It's and then if people haven't gone through it, they don't get it. They just don't get it. And but we definitely do get it. And so that's why we're here. We're going to continue on with the fight. We are moving everything to Facebook Lives, guys, as far as our free content goes. It's all going to be on Facebook Live. One of two reasons. One, it's easy. Two, it's easy. And three, it's pretty easy. So
we know how hard it is sometimes to break away if you have a family. I mean, gosh, you just saw we were interrupted by our 7-year-old. So, and I know that as you're trying to deal through everything, sometimes time can get away from you and you can look down and go, shoot, I missed that call. But now, I mean, you can look at it at your leisure.
Jeff was going to be so awesome, and Maggie was going to say these great things.
Wow, sorry. But yeah, guys, just stick with us. We've definitely been there. I actually heard it today. It was a woman I was talking to talked about how the breaking up or the divorce of a spouse is much like going through the death of a spouse.
Oh yeah, that's
the difference is they're still there, and that betrayal is there, constantly looking at you. So gosh, it's hard. We know. Yep. We know. So guys, hang with us, and we're going to do everything we can to help you.
So here's the deal. What do you got to do next? Mark your calendars for Wednesdays at 9 p.m. We're going to have focus class Wednesdays 9 p.m. If you like our Facebook page, you're going to get a notification that we're on live. Make sure you like it or click whatever button needs to get the notification. Number 2, share these videos around. Other than that, guys, we love you. And we hope that we can help you out. And we hope that our story and our message solidifies your marriages and prevents you from going down the deep, dark tunnel of divorce. We love you. God bless. Oh, wait. Wedlock Warriors, right? We are Wedlock Warriors. Real life.
Real questions.
Real answers. See you guys.